All right, it's my turn now. I'm Sharon from eLearning Minds. So my session is going to share with you about BYOC. All right. A while before to that, just to let you know that eLearning Minds has been doing content developments for the last 20 years. So meaning we, client outsource the content for us to build e-learning content. So with our last 20 years of experience, we put this up together called BYOC. I hope the next 15-20 minutes that I share with you, you'll be able to, use it in your organization or institution. All right, so why BYOC? All right, because today our learners is getting more demanding, right? So they look for variety, they look for different ways of learning as well. Right, so that's why BYOC allows you to design the learning content that cater for the different needs of the learner. Right, I believe that people in the executive, people in the operation, people in the top management, they all have a different needs. So BYOC allow us to do that. Right, apart from design our own content, we can look into curate. Okay, curate the content that we can also borrow some contents from YouTube or from some good website. Okay, and then we can also put it together in a more structural way. Right, so this is whereby you can design how your structure you want it to be. And then, for example, today the learning is not depending on just e-learning or classroom only. Your structure can be blended. All right, you can have a combinations of e-learning, ILT or VILT and put things together. All right, and importantly is that we want to bring the relevance content to the learners. Okay, and if we do so, right, so definitely we're able to enhance the learner's learning journey. So imagine that today you're able to provide them the right contents to support their work so they can have a better performance in their working environment. So, and also this will ultimately meet the business need as well. That's why just now we talk about business aligned learning. All right. Okay, just now we talk about why BYOC, right? And of course, meeting the business need is very important because today everyone is very busy. Okay, they have their own business as usual, many things to juggle. All right, they want to learn things like learning on demand or learn things that they can really use and perform in the work. But of course, there are other things that individual may be interested to learn, but there's nothing much to do with the business. All right, so in our L&D context, in the Learning Institute context, our role is basically to bring the right contents. Ultimately, they can perform and meet the business need. Right. Same goes to, let's say, institution. They need to learn to perform in their exam, in their coursework, so that they can graduate. Right. So all these things is basically that we want to provide a meaningful and engaging learnings to our learner. That's why if they learn something is meaningful to them, is right for them. That's why they feel engaged. This is how you can enhance the entire learning journey. Okay, and the third point is very important, talking about BYOC. All right, I think for the past you may heard about content I'm not able to update because I don't have the source file, the vendor doesn't give it to me. That's why you are not able to continue to maintain and update. All right, we have heard so many from our client. Okay, and that's why we need to keep our content to be sustainable. Because content need to be upgraded and update from time to time, especially with today's very rapid change, business environment. All right, all the information need to update right away, and you want your learners or people in the front line or people facing the customer, they always have the latest informations to be shared with the customer. All right, that's why the content need to be upgraded. Same goes to compliance content. All right, so I believe that for AMLA and all that, we have been helping clients to maintain the AMLA module for more than 10 years. All right, so this is whereby it's very important. Then you may ask, how is it easy to do it? All right, because we talk about BYOC, build your own content, right? Okay, so I can tell you that I think for the last 10 years, the tools are getting designed for non-technical people. Today in our office, we do not have very technical, we don't have programmers, to create all those content, because we are using the tools to develop the content. And the tools are very helpful and very friendly for those non-technical people. All right. And then you may ask, can my people to be trained? Yep. With the tools, definitely, you or your team can be trained to use all those tools. All right. And then not just about the tools, but also the skill into storyboarding. That's why instructional design strategy is very important to how can you create a meaningful content, all right, from any materials, whether they are from PowerPoint, policy, books, or any kind of a manual, and through the learning, through the instructional design strategy, and you can carve out the meaningful learnings that cater for your learners. And it's also to have a best practices, learn from do and don'ts, all right? So learn from other people's mistake and learn what are the best practices that is usable, for our learners, right? And the last part, we talk about delivery solution. Okay, so sometimes you have the best of the content that you think is right for your learners, but how are we going to know that, right? So that's why to choose the right delivery solution is important. This is where we can use the right solutions to deliver to the learner, and then we can also collect their feedback. Okay, we can collect the feedback through surveys, through quizzes, so that we can kind of those data will give us the understanding about how good is our content. Is our content can really meet their needs. Okay, so these are the things that we can actually capture through the learning platform. Of course, the another thing is that through the learning platform or delivery solution, right, then you can enhance the learning experience, right? And for example, there's a mobile apps, right? They can do 2-3 clicks in order to access to the learning content, anywhere, anytime, right? Okay, so now I'm going to deep dive into the BYOC solutions. So the solutions that, for the past 20 years, then this is where we put this up together in a different category. They are comprises of platforms, tools, resources, and services. I'm going to go through one by one. Okay, let's look into first the platform. All right, so learning management system is very important. As I mentioned, we need to capture the learner's learning data. Data can tell us how effective is the learning taking place, and then also the feedback from the learner. So through learning management system, we can capture those data while the learners learn along the way. And secondly, the platforms can also give the learner have a better learning experience. For example, so the mobile apps, they can access anywhere, anytime, because those are cloud-based. All right. Another platform is important. We talk about media hosting. Okay, so many people, they're trying to put their videos into learning management system, which is not viable because LMS is meant for data collection. Okay, it's not so much for the video streaming. So a good media hosting server is important because you can collect all your video, put into the single place. So it's like your, a video repository. Right, and then you can have a secure place, and then you can also share within your own community or your own organization. All right. The third one is gamification. Right, gamification platform is always can act as a good platforms to do change management. All right, and you can create different challenges within the platform, so the learners can learn, by challenge themselves. And then of course you can always organize like a competition. There's a team competition, there's an individual achievement because there's a leaderboards, so on and so forth. Right, so this is a different platform that can actually cater for different needs. So like LMS, we do have Tele LMS, eFront, and Brightspace. For gamification, we do have Gametize. As for media hosting, we have Vimeo. Okay, next, tools. All right, and under the BYOC, these tools is a major contributor and why we can do it today by everyone. Okay, the authoring tool is basically that, can put all the medias together and make it a meaningful learning content, but yet ultimately this content can be trackable in the learning management system. All right, then of course media. today we are no longer just talk about reading, right? People also want to see animated video or animated character, cartoons into scenario, case study. Yeah, so media tools is very important. I still remember for the past when we want to do animation, we actually, get the cartoonists to draw the cartoons, and then we have to animate every single movement, right? And the tools today can do it so fast, okay? And like just now, we also show that you can also potentially from text to video, all right? And the last part about recording studio, because there are more and more video creation like what I'm doing right now. We're using a recording studio. It can be very fast into creating such a meaningful content to make it available to your learner as well. So authoring tool, we do have Articulate, Raptivity. As for media tools, we have Vion, Powtoon, Camtasia. As for recording studio, we have iStudio, UStudio, and PStudio. Of course, now we also add on to our hybrid classroom. All right, the next one is talking about resources. Yep, we have the platform as well as we have the right tools, and of course, apart from that, there are additional resources can support in the entire the journey of build your own content. All right, number one is content library. So meaning those are the off-the-shelf content or soft skill contents are ready-made for you to use. Mainly we refer to the off-the-shelf content. All right. Then of course we have a studio and hybrid classroom to rent. So meaning that if you want to do any of this, doesn't mean that you need to invest into building a studio whereby you only use 1 or 2 times, right? You can always look for available for rent. So you just bring in your material, you record, and then you just take the MP4 file as outcome. Okay. And then as for media library as well, so media library, template library is something that we can just access to whatever is available, then we can use it into our own content. Same, and then the last one we talk about community membership. Okay, in content library, these are the list of content that we carry. Of course, ELLM learning is by e-learning minds. We do represent Skilla, Video Arts, Global Exam, and Talent Library as well. Okay, for the studio and hybrid classroom, of course, we got UStudio, PStudio, and hybrid classroom, which just now we have seen. Of course, we got media library and template, which able to support in the process of content creation. Okay, the last part about e-learning community. All right, this is always that we hope to bring people who has the interest about e-learning industry. All right, so we want to bring expert locally as well as overseas expert that we can always exchanging idea and then share our experience with everyone that who are interested into e-learning. Okay, this is about services, right? So you have the tools, platform, and of course resources. I think this is the most important one, and to make the content creations happen, right? You need people, to make it work or create the content, right? So here we have e-learning talent, all right, whereby a groups of expertise can put up together. And then we do provide like media services, create the so-called video-based, animation-based content. We provide training, skill development into how to use the so-called the skill, and of course the consultancy services. Let's look at e-learning talent. All right. Many years back or even up to now, all right, we have always client ask us, okay, Sharon, can I have someone from your, or can I hire your instructional designer or your e-learning developer to do something for to do it in-house, all right? I think for the past, we really have limited resources because we have to train everyone from scratch, okay? And then, and today, this is what we put up, the e-learning talents, whereby those are the talents that we train internally based on our experience, and at least they got minimum 1 or 2 years experience in content development. All right, so how it works. So e-learning talents normally comprises of instructional designer, e-learning developer, and e-learning designer, right? So it depends on the requirement from your team. Let's say you already have instructional designer, of course, we can assign a e-learning developers to work with your team, right? Or else you just have the subject matter expert, all right? And then we can form out a team of instructional designer and e-learning developer to work solely together with your SME in delivering the result, the outcomes, all right? And this can be quantified by days, by weeks, okay? And then with the scope of work, right? Why we come up this? Because you see, for the past, it's like the challenges about content outsourcing. There's always a challenge about cost is very high, okay? And then also time is very long because there's a lots of review and comeback, and sometimes the SME is not available and our resources is not solely, to cater for this project. That's why to overcome all these challenges, right? So we are setting up like an e-learning talents trooper, all right? Work together with the SME, and they already are equipped with the right hardware, like the right notebook, and then all the software is required, okay, will be with them, and the skill, all right, they have the experience in developing content, and of course the more importantly that any challenges they face with the client or in the project, they can always refer back to our internal team. Okay, then we can help them to solve, or give them advice on what they can do to overcome those challenges. Yeah, so this is a total things that we put up under the e-learning talents, right? Okay, regarding the media, of course, if you adopt the media tools, you can do it your own. But some of the clients saying that I only do 1 or 2 videos, it may not justify for me to invest like building, the studio or acquire the tools to do that. Of course, we have clients that outsource to us and we can do so. Okay, then training. This is a list of trainings that we do conduct to equip with the team, especially if you want to do BYOC, they can attend those. Then the last part is about consultancy. So these are the consultancy from learning strategy, e-learning trend, e-learning standards, storyboarding, and content authoring. So you can talk to us, then this is where we can see how we can support, okay, for your team to in terms of the e-learning content creation. Okay, I think that is about the element or the 4 quadrant. And then this part we talk about benefit. Okay, why? Apart from why, so what are the benefits if we go for BYOC? All right, comparing to outsourcing. Of course, the BYOC is that the transfer of technology. So imagine that our team has been working with your team for the next 6 or 3 months, right? So in this process, the knowledge can be transferred, and whatever we use by our team, and later on you can be adopt as well, right? Then that's why the whole transfer of technology can be happen through this process, okay? Or else we can attend our training and we can also transfer this knowledge to you. Second one about customization. So of course BYOC, as we all mentioned about, you can fully customize from your branding, logo, your culture, your way of learn things and all that. So it's all fully customizable, and it's flexible. And then because you have the right skill, right tools, that's why you can update the content from time to time. You doesn't need to wait. All right, and of course I already mentioned it's cost effective because it's all within your capability, as well as your the tools that you have, right? And very important is that talking about control over the quality. So the content is with you, so you can always assure the accuracy of the content, the delivery of your content is quality to your learner. All right. And the last but not least is about intellectual property. This is very important because the content normally is derived from our client, okay, from you. So you are fully own the intellectual property of the content. So you build it your own, everything belongs to you. That's including all the source files, all the materials that you put up together. And moreover, there are certain content maybe a little bit sensitive and is only made available within the organization. So by BYOC, basically you have no worry, to share this content to a third party vendors to access or to build your content. All right. So these are the benefits of BYOC that that's where we see that you may consider to adopt it in your organization and institution. All right. So this is just the beginning of the BYOC. I believe that we are happy to continue to have these conversations with you. All right. And then if you have any questions, so do ask. We will try our best to answer your question. All right. Thank you very much.